Hey yo, what a div, y'all. Let's get right into it. It's time to talk about these trials of ascension, you know what I'm saying? Because these things have evoked a lot of emotion. And a lot of us, me included, I'm gonna keep it a stack, right? Like, it has not been the most pleasurable experience. It has been a different experience from the labyrinth, Might be too early to call better or worse, right? Like, I'll be personally honest, I don't remember being this angry at one of them when I was trying out lab for the first time. But the rage I felt during Trial of Chaos was very, very different. And maybe that's just, again, could be new game woes. Could be that it sucks. You'll never know, right? But if you haven't gotten through these, or you haven't gotten to them, or rather you just are struggling to get through them, I wanted to put together a quick video about both Trial of Sekhma and Trial of Chaos now that I've gotten to try them out. Because I did make a video before the game came out where I talked about my general, or in my list of things I was excited about, part of it was this update to the Ascension trials. And it was just because I wanted to see if I felt like they hit the nail on the head with this potential redo of how Ascension works. And I will be honest, they did not. But we're going to go over each one and why, and also like how to do it, what it'll actually give you, and like some recommendations that I would provide somebody who is currently struggling with these two mechanics, right? Now, like, comment, subscribe, the video is helpful or whatever, all that good stuff. Let's get into it. Starting up with Trials of the Sekhma, because that is, definitely the one closest to what I built this channel off of, right? Sanctum, if you're familiar with Sanctum from PoE 1, I will say it is a very familiar experience. Not too familiar in the sense that it's like all the same, right? The fact that your starting honor actually is just your health and shield is very interesting, but you do still get a lot of the problems that come with having your game mode have what is considered like permanent health, I guess, right? The idea that, when you take damage, you can pot it off, but you can't pot up your honor. And as a result, that permanent damage creates a decision tree that is inherently like toxic to characters that are prone to getting hit. Not prone to getting hit because like, you can't play the game properly, but like, prone to getting hit just because of the way that the skill functions and has to interact with the game. Now, combine that with some tuning things, and you can start to see a little bit of the problem that some people have been having with Trials of the Sekhma. Like, me included a little bit. Like, I got through it just fine, and I did not like lose my shit over it or anything, but it was definitely a rough experience, and I could definitely see other people absolutely losing their mind over it because it, if you weren't a fan of Sanctum before, I can't tell you you're gonna be a fan of it now. But you do want that first ascendancy point, right? And you probably want it early. You probably are sitting like, I don't want to wait until Act 3 to go ascend, right? Like, you probably say like, I don't want to do that. I want it now. I want my Infernal Hound. I want my, minus life on my Blood Mage, whatever it may be, right? You already want it. How do I get it, right? So let's talk about how to actually get it. 1, go kill Balbala the Traitor in the Traitor's Passage. Once you get the like Jin's Baria from them, you'll be able to go to the place where it takes place. I can't remember the name of the trial of the second location, but you'll be able to go there, put the coin into the altar, and then the Jin will come out, and you'll be able to begin the sequence, including them giving you your starting relic. Now, what's worth noting, by the way, about this interaction I just described, I saw it happen while I was watching my friends play, and I just want to point this out. If you are playing in a party and somebody in that party has already done their Trial of Ascendancy from the Trial of Sekhma, but you haven't, you need to be the one to open the instance so that you can actually give the coin. Otherwise, it won't work right. Anyways, small little thing. But you'll go there, you'll open the place up, you'll put your relic in, you'll get one relic, you put it in, and you go. Trial of Sekhma has a couple of room types with a couple different reward trees. It is very similar to Sanctum, with the only real difference that I perceived immediately being the resolve and the actual room types. And this is actually one of the strengths, I think, of the mechanic now, is that I think the room types are a lot more interesting. Even if they're a little bit harder, I think they're a lot more interesting now. You have your standard kill everything room, but it's a survive timer. You have your traditional, so there's the survive room. There is the kill all the rares room, the blood trials. Those suck. There's the ritual trials, These require you to go disrupt like summoning rituals at portals. Those rooms are actually pretty chill. There are death crystal rooms. I believe they're called crystal trials or something like that, or crystal trial, I think is what it's called. Those rooms have your death crystals in them. Those are awesome. They're super well designed. And then there is like our standard find the exit through a bunch of traps, the gauntlet trial, which hit or miss depending on how you feel about traps, right? If you hate it, lab traps are going to hate these rooms. It's going to keep it a buck with you. A couple quick tips about these rooms, right? The survive rooms, you can just run around and pretty much not interact with the rare that's in it. But if you're able to quickly and safely delete a rare, rares cut off a substantial portion of that timer. And so the one that it spawns in there is meant to like accelerate your progress if you can actually kill it. So keep that in mind. On the gauntlet rooms, there's one note that I can give you about the spike that rise to the floor. You do not have to wait for a spike to go all the way back down before you can start moving through it, right? Once it's risen, it's done its damage, and you can move while it's going down. That's a very important thing for getting through those safely. Otherwise, the traps are pretty straightforward. I feel like just a little obnoxious. Then there's the ritual room. It's worth noting that for the portals, it is the guys casting at the sides of the portals. The ads that they spawn out of the portal need to be killed because otherwise they can do damage to you. But the actual guys, the sides are the problem. And then the death crystals, it is making sure that you literally go to the crystal and click it, right? To activate it. And then it's going to send a wisp towards where the next one is. And as long as you follow those wisps and don't lose track of that, you will be a-okay on there. Now, all that said, the rooms are great. Those are actually not the problems I have with the Sanctum at all. With my bad, the Sanctum. You're gonna catch me this mistake a lot over this like month or so because the Sanctum was my baby. But Trial of Sekhma doesn't have problems with the rooms. I think the rooms are actually good. The problems with Trial of Sekhma come from the monsters in it. The monster types in there are really toxic in terms of just the amount of projectiles they leave lingering, the amount of ailments they able to apply. There are quite a few of them, some slow effects. Some just really obnoxious monsters, including, I did mention the blood trial was a little bit of an ass, and it was because of the fact that it does force you to fight rares. Rares have rare modifiers. Rare modifiers, as we all know, are not fun. And a lot of them can cause incidental damage just for breathing, which incidental damage, guess what? Takes away your resolve. And it's worth noting that all damage over time like continues that, right? You take an ignite, it will burn off your resolve for the duration of that ignite. So keep that in mind as well, right? It's kind of rough. Now, once you've completed all the rooms, you'll get to the end room with Rattle Cage. I'm not going to talk too much about the fight. I do want you to you got to kind of figure that out. But I will say, it's a horrific game of arena management, and it's another pain point in the map, in the mode for me, mostly because I feel like it was really hard to actually find spaces that I could stand and do damage as a melee character, because Rattle Cage would innately decide to do moves to try to force me away from the boss, but he's already done that so many times, and there's these cremations everywhere causing all sorts of fuck ass damage, and that made it really hard for me to have fun with Rattle Cage. But it didn't take me a long time to get him down. He was not the thing that was walling me up the most on my honor management throughout the run. Now, the last thing that I haven't talked about Trials of Sekhma is definitely the actual rewards that you get from the rooms. There's the standard suite of room rewards. There's the fountain. There's the afflicted fountain, which is where it described a little bit better. It's worth noting that all of the types of rooms, if you're familiar with them from Sanctum, have descriptive names now, right? If you're familiar with the fountain, it now just says awards a shrine that restores honor, right? If you're familiar with the chest room, it is now a shrine that provides lots of holy water, or holy water. Can't remember the actual name of the currency, but the terms are a lot more descriptive. So you'll see it'll say oh, your restores a ton of honor, but also gives you an affliction. Keep that in mind, right? The ones that are worth noting, by the way, it contains a decision to allow you to alter the terms of the trial. That is an accursed pact. That is the one where you get a really potentially strong upside in exchange for trading some downside, which sometimes is negligible, sometimes it's really impactful. That's what that one means. So keep that in mind as well. Now, all that said, decisions I recommend, by the way, are that you play for honor and boons. It's worth noting that you would rather be down to let's say, so I went in with about 450 max honor. I would rather have 300 honor and a really strong boon than 450 honor. Boons are all if you get the right boon, it's really strong. Now, specifically in the first one though, because it is only one floor long, right? Like you kill Rattle Cage and you get your first ascendancy point, you're out of there. It is potentially reasonable to just not play for boons because of the fact that the boons could give you so many things that are meant to sustain over the course of a longer run, and you wouldn't like need those and you don't really benefit from them. Keep that in mind, right? And then as far as rewards go, there's the standard drop rewards from the rares in there if you are killing them. There's the potential for a relic off of like the boss or out of the chest at the end. And then additionally, there's the jewels that they talked about in the trailer, which I mean, I got some regular jewels. I didn't get any radius jewels yet. And the last thing, of course, being like the key system in general, which it seems like they actually carry between runs, but I haven't really confirmed this because they don't seem to be inventory items, but you could use those to, pop open the chest at the end. And there are rooms that award keys that you can go to if you feel confident in your ability to maintain your honor throughout this first trial. Overall, Trial of Sekhma is an interesting revamp of a mechanic that people did not like. And that is kind of where I stand at it with it right now. As a person who liked Sanctum originally, I'm a big fan of this rework. It does mean that I'm going to need to take a good bit of what I know about farming Sanctum or farming Child of Sekhma, right? And the misnomer there is intentional because I think I do need to take a lot of time at some point to relearn the mechanic, right? Because there are just, the mobs are different. The room types are different. The buffs and boon situation seems to be roughly the same and everything, but like the design of the system is different, and therefore, and the game I'm playing it in is different, right? I don't have the ridiculous mobility that I had in PoE 1 where I would just lightning warp across the whole like room and be done with it, right? It's a very different game, and until I've gotten a little bit more under my belt, it's going to be a little bit of time getting acclimated to that. It's going to be interesting how my opinions on this trial, change over time as I try it on different characters and at different build states and whatnot. Overall, this is definitely my preferred of the two trials because, for everything that I have to say negative about it so far, it is worth noting that I do think it is actually well designed in a lot of the departments. I like the fact that the rooms are better put together. It just sucks. Like, it is hard. Like, just flat out, it's hard. But that's fine. It feels properly designed hard, not what I'm about to talk about here with Trial of Chaos, which, hey, it's time for a mini version of my rants from stream. If you were watching on stream yesterday morning when I was trying to ascend through Trial of Chaos, you probably saw some of the funniest content of me that will ever be seen. And it's just because as many people stated, as one of my friends stated in chat, he's known me for many years. We've known each other since Harvest League, and he's never seen me that angry, right? Like, no one really sees, like, I never felt that angry of my own, right? I had like a knot in my back after that. Like, I had to go get like a nice good stretch in after Trial of Chaos because I have some problems with it. But we'll get to those in a second. I want to describe the system to you before I get into what I didn't like about it, right? Trial of Chaos is the ultimate mechanic from PoE 1 updated to, become an Ascendency trial. You go through a series of trials with stacking modifiers that you select before going into said room, right? So before the first trial, you are offered 3 modifiers and a reward for completing the room. And you look at your modifiers and you go, I think I could take this one. Okay, let's get it. Get in there, champ. You think you can take this one. Now, after completing the room, which is a couple different types of rooms, you will get a second trial offering with a new reward and 3 more choices that you have to make. Make your decision wisely. It stacks with the previous one, right? So keep that in mind. And then you'll do this on and on until you get to the 4th one in the first time you do it from the story. Which the 4th one will give you a boss after another decision, mind you. And you will kill that boss and you will be able to ascend. Now, those decisions are going to be rough. There's a large pool of modifiers, stuff that range from all enemy hits are crits. Your flask can't gain charges. We're going to create these giant doom circles that nuke the map, right? All sorts of things. So be aware of that. As well as there's a variety of different trials, the actual activities, much like in Sanctum, how they were, or in Trial of Sekhma, there were the different activities, right? Where you had like the ritual trial and whatnot. There are another set of those in Trial of Chaos. One of them is a standard layout as in like literally an extermination mission, kill all the monsters in the area. They will be marked on the map so that you know where to go. That's a really simple one. Then there's the survival one. You'll start a totem and then you'll just chill out in the area. Mind you, area means in the pit, not necessarily next to the totem, and wait until you live. But that means, you know, killing things until to pass the time until you do that, until it does end, right? Then there's an escort type one, which I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. That one sucks because, well, it is an escort thing. You guys remember like the escort from like the puzzle or the gauntlets and puzzles and whatnot in the labyrinth? It's one of those. Which can, you know, usually it's only monsters, but you know, if your modifiers have spawnables in them, they will in fact have spawnables in the area. And to that end, you know, you get stuck getting forced out of your spot, out of your circle often and whatnot. It's horrific. Also, it's not very well defined what the range on the like escort of the payload is, and I really think they should like A, mark it, and B, make it bigger. But neither here nor there, right? Then there is, I feel like there was one more that I'm forgetting, and it's driving me nuts. There's like another one that involves like collecting like baby soul cores. I think it has to do with hunting down specific monsters. And then there's the boss rooms, of course, right? Now, once you've done all that, it's actually like pretty simple. You pick modifiers, you kill things, and you go hit boss, and then you get loot, which can include like ball orbs and soul cores, as well as some randomly corrupted rares and stuff. And then you get your ascendancy. Seems pretty easy to meet, right? All right, so let's talk about what I don't like though. And to talk about what I don't like, it comes with me talking about how I make my decisions in there to try to minimize risk, because that's going to be the name of the game of Ultimatum. You're going to find that the actual numbers on the things that you're fighting in there, assuming your character is decent and prepared up until this point, you know, potentially over leveled a little bit, well geared, air quotes, right? You're going to find that it is particularly difficult to put hands on this type of on these enemies, because the modifiers are rough. You do need to make decisions on modifiers that do not screw you over. Here's a great example. There are a lot of area denial effects. If you cannot handle the area denial effects, do not take them. Stormcaller runes, the Doom Blast, etc. Right? It is worth noting that some builds are differently equipped for other things, right? Like the Stormcaller runes I found don't instantly kill me if they go off. It takes about 3 ticks. And so I'm able to take them because I had a decent amount of lightning rest at the time that would let me, you know, click that node and be like, yes, I can sort of kind of take this damage just long enough to get out of the way in case I need to stand in a Stormcaller rune for an extended period of time. If you're a character with a lot of armor, the Doom Blast might not be as much of a non-starter for you as it was for me, right? So you'll have to find out what actually does and doesn't work for your build overall. But there are some that are universally painful, such as monsters always deal crits. Monsters deal, like, you cannot gain your flash or charm charges for the remainder of the run. That one is rough, right? There's stuff like that. Additionally, I think it's worth highlighting this one mod in particular that I did try, and I feel the need to really put out there. Monsters are protected by a shield. I need to be so clear when I say, unless you are a chaos build, never touch that modifier. And even if you are a chaos build, I probably would say also still don't touch that modifier. That modifier is actually what sent me into my spiral when I realized that the boss that I was fighting had what genuinely might have been 3 times or more of his HP as ES. Like it was an amount so high it genuinely felt like an error, because I spent forever trying to beat through the ES and whatnot, and then suddenly, you know, I get to the life and I absolutely nuke the phase, and I'm like, oh god. And because it was a boss that had phases, he would then regenerate he would recharge his ES between phases, and I would want to roll over in a ball and die. So be wary of that, right? Maybe it was just a weird experience. Maybe it was a numerical error. I don't know, but just be aware of that happening. Otherwise, and again, like I said, it's really about playing your life in these decisions for now. It's going to be rough. Now, here are my thoughts, because I did mention that I absolutely hate this one. And I'm just going to put some words in there now. I'm not going to get too irate about it. I've done that already and whatnot. I want to give you honest feedback about the mechanic. And I think the core of my feedback is that it is random. And I don't like that, right? You know, like there's that sound it's like, let's go gambling, right? When people say let's go gambling, it's usually for things that are harmless, right? Like it's really fun to be like, let's go gambling when you get like a Voldos puzzle box to drop, and instead of selling it, you just right click it and see what comes out of it, right? Or when you get a reliquary key and you pop it open because you're like, what's the harm, right? It could be fun, right? But it has no tangible impact on your ability to play the game in any way, shape, or form, right? You're just having fun. Being stuck behind a wall of let's go gambling when trying to fucking get your ascendancy has gotta be one of the worst experiences ever, especially because I realized how strong my character was compared to the content, right? Like it became really apparent to me that my character was completely capable of doing this ascension trial, like completely. It's just, I needed to get, through the whole run without them giving me a set of options that I was going to deem unplayable for one reason or another, right? And I had quite a few runs that ended on me getting given a decision of 3 options and looking and being like, wow, all 3 of these will literally kill me. There's nothing I can do about it. And then I'm going to click it and I'm going to go try to do it and I'm going to die and I'm going to tilt, right? That is my feelings. But I think, like you can have your general thoughts about the mechanic of Ultimatum and whatnot, but it was a lot more fun when it was in a map and there was no cost to me deciding to say, fuck it, I don't want to go any further because it's getting too hard. But the cost right now is literally my ascension points. So I have to go further. And being forced to go through something that is random and rough for that is not a good feeling. Now, you might be thinking, but didn't they say in the announcer stream that you don't actually have to do the other trial, the trial that you don't want to do? And you'd be right. This applies to the trial of Sekhma as well. But the unlock for the additional runs of each of those is not particularly early. It's not like you go through Act 2 and you get the trial of Sekhma, and then at the same time you unlock that, you get the option to go do Trial of Chaos instead. Or you unlock Trial of Chaos and then you immediately get the option to go to Trial of Sekhma instead for your second your second ascension, right? Oh, no. You know how you get your second ascension in that case? You need to wait till, for me, it was Cruel. Deep and Cruel is when I think, oh, actually, no. Late Act 3, I got the drop for a second run of Ultimatum. If I wanted to, but I believe that run would have only given me one ascension point. I didn't because I had already completed it. But that one, considering it was also 4 trials, I believe would have made me only get 1 ascendancy point out of it. And getting the Sanctum one, I found the Sanctum second one. If I wanted to go to Sanctum for go to Trial of Sekhma for my second ascension, that didn't come to me until Cruel. That's a good bit of content after the fact. There was also all sorts of other things in there. And the like that system is rough. Like genuinely feels horrific, right? Now, as far as how do I know about the I don't know a lot about what will be the equivalent of Merc and Uberlab or your 3rd and 4th ascensions, and that's just because I haven't gotten there quite personally yet. What I believe though I've heard is that near map level you will start near like close to / in white maps, the first few tiers of maps, you'll be able to drop them with what I believe is 3 floors, or I think it's 6 or 7 trials for Trial of Chaos, and that will allow you to go get your 3rd one. And then in yellows is what I heard, you will be able to get your what will be the 4th ascension, which is 4 floors, or 4 floors or 10 trials, right? It's there. That's what I've heard. I have to verify it, but I believe that's what I've heard. I'll leave a comment or I'll update the description or something to make it known if I find out information that contradicts this. Anyways, this has been a long ass video just for me to I can tell you guys about how to do the trials, as well as give some thoughts on mitigating the pain points that you will experience doing them. Anyways, if you found the video helpful, you know the deal. Like, subscribe. Let me know if there's any tips or not that you think you could give to people who are going to be struggling, especially for other classes, right? I played a monk, and I know that my boss damage is just a different profile than everybody else's, but my clear is also a different profile than everybody else's in terms of it being weaker. So different opinions for different classes. I'd like to see some feedback from other people down there in terms of how their experience went. Additionally, I think that's everything. Oh, right. Additionally, I'm sorry guys, it's early. These PoE 2 sessions get long. But additionally, if you want to see any of this live and all that stuff, link in the description. You know the deal. Anywho, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.